Meanwhile, the Democrat shutdown is causing pain and suffering for hardworking Americans, including our military, our air traffic controllers, and impoverished mothers, people with young children, people that have to live not the greatest of lives. But we're doing so many tax cuts. We've cut their taxes. The great big beautiful bill, we've cut their taxes at levels that nobody's ever seen. I mean, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's been a great thing for a lot of people. They're doing great. Despite all of the damage that it's caused, the shutdown has been, pretty damaging. I mean, it's not yet because it's early, but it gets a little bit worse as it goes along. And we'll be making cuts that will be permanent. And we're only going to cut Democrat programs. I hate to tell you. I guess that makes sense. But we're only cutting Democrat programs. But we're going to start that. And we have Russell can talk to you about it if he wants to. But we'll be cutting some very popular Democrat programs that aren't popular with Republicans, frankly, because that's the way it works. They wanted to do this. So we'll give them a little taste of their own medicine.
And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Matthew chapter 24, verse 19 and 21. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honor to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so brother Aharon coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and I have an article here, another indicator, all right, of the times that we're in. All right, being that we are definitely seeing, all right, the beginnings of Jacob's trouble. Okay, as in Jacob's trouble is finally here. And like we always say, as the scriptures say, it's going to be like a woman that travaileth. As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. All right, as in what happens during the time of trouble, how it happens, and as the time goes on, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Okay. There's a book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5. And in verse 3, it says, For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. All right. And when you go back into Matthew 24, Yahushua talks about major signs. And then right after that, he says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. And those major signs were nation against nation, going into wars, rumors of wars. Okay. You get to the point where people are even saying that, oh, World War III could pop off anytime soon. Anytime now. We're saying, well, it doesn't pop off until the MOTB is made mandatory upon the face of the earth. And we're in those times where you're seeing them put the infrastructure together, right, to fulfill the prophecy of the mark of the beast. Okay. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. You're seeing that system being set up right now. Okay. And Trump is a part of that system being brought together. Everything that you're seeing now, I saw a video today where he was saying that he's going to make some cuts, federal cuts and benefits that's going to definitely benefit. He said it's going to affect Democrats. Okay, a lot of Democratic benefits, he said, he's going to be cutting them and getting rid of them to affect Democrats. He said they'll get a taste of their own medicine. So this guy is he set the precedent for that division. Okay, Yahushua said, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Okay. And then in Isaiah 19, it talks about the Egyptian against the Egyptian. Second Ezra, it talks about one man fighting against another with sword in their hands. Okay, that's all synonymous with what's about to happen here in America, Babylon the Great, and around the world. You couple that with the insurrection. All right, he said he's going to enact the Insurrections Act. Why? Because of the uproars of the people. Okay, so mass civil unrest will eventually become mass civil war. And that's what they're preparing for. All right. That's what they're preparing for. But I have an article I want to go into. All right. Going into the troubles. I mean, it's hitting home. All right. These troubles are hitting home. That's how we know that we are in those times, because we're all getting affected by these things. Right. Job cuts, right. Layoffs, all these things, brothers losing jobs left and right. All these things that's happening is affecting everyone, including all of us here in this truth. So that's how you know that this is the doing of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, because no one is exempt. But within that, you have those who are going to receive mercy, right? Because we all got to be on the Titanic, but those who get delivered from that Titanic, all right, are the ones who are chosen from the beginning to be delivered. That's known as the elect. Okay. And it's very simple. All right. It's very simple. So we all going to go through troubles, as is written, the trials that's going to be upon the face of the earth. Like, everyone's going to have to go through it. All right. But the elect are going to be the ones who are going to be kept, all right, from it. In other words, they're going to be the ones to not engage, all right, in the temptation where they fall. Okay. But this article here, all right, is highlighting pretty much how Americans are feeling right now, and it's only about to get worse. For those who know, you know. All right. It says C-SPAN caller confronts House Speaker Mike Johnson about shutdown effects. Quote, "My kids could die." Okay, my kids could die, and it's apropos because kids are what you call what is known as a baby goat. A baby goat is a kid. Okay, so when you go around calling your offspring kids, right, instead of children, right, scriptures doesn't call your children kids. So when you call your children kids, you're letting them know that they're ripe for sacrifice. So when you say my kids could die, in other words, eventually, whoever said that, as we're going to read, eventually, hey, as the scripture says, the famine is going to get so bad, because this is just the beginning stages. The famine that's coming is going to get so bad, people are going to be eating their kids quite literally. Okay, they're actual kids, because those children are going to be looked at as food. Okay, cannibalism, right? They're being groomed for cannibalism. When you go to these fast food restaurants, they got all kinds of stuff that you don't even want to know. It's not what they sell you. They say it's a burger. You think it's from a cow. Yeah, all right. Okay. Anyway, let's keep reading. It says, the caller, who was identified as a Republican and military spouse. Listen to that. So Trump is saying that these cuts and financial woes is going to affect mostly Democrats, right? But here you have a Republican and a military spouse. Said she wouldn't be able to afford her children's medication if the shutdown continues. Okay? It says here, C-SPAN caller made an emotional plea to House Speaker Mike Johnson. Is he emotional plea because we're in those times? Hey, let's get that. Let's get that. The same people that are bringing the hell are the same people that want you to come to them for the solution to that hell that they're creating. It's called problem reaction solution. All right. This is a book of Isaiah chapter 31 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh." Right. Because here, when all hell is coming and all hell is breaking loose and we're in the time of evil, all right, as is written in Ezekiel the 7th chapter, "An evil and only evil is come, behold, it watcheth for thee." Right. It says here, the caller made an emotional plea to House Speaker Mike Johnson. So she's making an emotional plea to a man who's part of the plan, part of the problem. Right. He's just there to play pretend. Like, oh yeah, we're working hard. So you're not doing nothing. This is all part of, we're working hard definitely to bring the hell. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Okay. Sweating profusely, right? Staying up all night, coming up with different plans, as is written in Micah, the second chapter. All right. Woe unto you that devise iniquity. All right. Let me get that. All right. They devise iniquity upon their beds. All right. Micah 2:1 says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. So they be up all night. These devils be up all night. All right. With their dark cloak, Trump, you know, and when everyone is sleeping, then they be enchanting, doing all kinds of satanic shit. All right. That so-called White House, that Oval Office, whatever. Yo, these people be doing all kinds of stuff in there, man. All right. And they get more and more vile the longer they're there. You notice a lot of these people, they look satanic and demonic. All them government officials, they have very dark countenance to them. All right. They all have a very sly, cunning look. All right. Whole bunch of demons, man. And you got people running to them for help. Okay. So let's see how that plays out. It says, on Thursday to end the government shutdown, saying that my kids could die if she can't afford their medication. The woman, identified as Samantha from Fort Belvoir, Virginia, expressed concerns over what would happen to her family if military service members do not get paid next week. And you know, it's crazy. I was doing a job yesterday and it was a military dude and he came home and, you know, his wife was home. So he came home, whatever, and cool guy. And, you know, he just looked stressed. You know, he was sitting at the table talking to his wife and all that. He was like, yo, it looks like I might be in the field next week. You know, they're calling me in. I'm gonna have to be out there for like 4 days or something. So I was like faintly listening, you know, because I was working. So I was faintly listening because when I see military dude, I'm like, something want to ask. Like I want to ask him like, yo, so what's going on? Like, what do you think is happening? You know, get some inside information, you know, use wisdom to kind of coax him to say some things that, you know, you feel his spirit out. All right, what kind of person is he? Like somebody who's committed to the system like that? Or is he one of those that's in there, but he knows what's going on and he's like, I can't really talk to nobody because no one really understands. And then once I throw certain information in there, he might be like, oh, yo, you might understand. Let me talk to this guy. See, that's how you get information from people. You know, because they don't know. Most of them they have no idea what's going on, but they know what's going on. Right? In other words, they don't understand it. They just know what's happening. You know, so it fits perfectly with prophecy because we could get more inside information on how the prophetic events are actually manifesting. You know, that's always good. All right, but I didn't really get much from that conversation. But anyway, so going back to the reading. Oh yeah, but the only thing I did notice though, what I was gonna say, the main reason why I brought this up was the thing I did notice though was his stress levels. Like you could tell he was very stressed out. You know, I don't know what he's been going through, whether it be personal or you know his job wise, right, being in the military. But just this alone. You know, federal workers not getting paid and all that, you know, especially with this economy right now. See, and you can't really complain because then this nigga said he's going to fire you because whatever, right? It's just a whole bunch of crazy. This is all totalitarian, man. You know? It says, and as the weeks go by and the months go by, he's going to get a lot more cruel. After the 1 year mark, you're going to see Trump really step into his role. All right. You're going to see. You're going to see. All right, he's building everything up. After that 1 year mark. Anyway, continuing, it says the caller who was also identified as a Republican said that she has 2 medically fragile children and that her husband actively serves his country and has spent 2 military tours in Afghanistan. You think they care about all that? You think they care about all that? You listen, those kind of people are the people they're trying to weed out. All right. Those are the kind of people they're trying to weed out. Okay. Oh, your husband served. Oh, okay. So what if he wakes up to everything that we've been doing and he want to fight back? So he has military experience. He could defend. Okay, nah, we got to do something about that. That's why they don't take care of the veterans. They don't want you to, you know, be in a better position because if they're taking care of you, shit, you ain't got no stress. You ain't got nothing to worry about. All that PTSD you've been through and you get good treatment. You're good. They don't want that because you're going to be in your right mind. See, they want you all bugged out so this witchcraft could work. Stressed out just like everybody else. It's like, damn. Hey, like they say, I believe Henry Kissinger said that. He said, military men are just dumb, stupid animals used for as cannon fodder for what did he say? For foreign policy or something like that. You know, crazy. It says, going back to the article, it says she brought up comments Johnson made Wednesday when asked if he would allow a vote on a bill to provide military members with emergency pay if the shutdown continues. Johnson told reporters that Democrats were clamoring to get back here and have another vote because some of them want to get on record and say they're for paying the troops. We already had that vote. It's called the CR, referring to a short-term funding bill that the House passed but Democrats do not support. You see how they're playing the game? You see how they're setting the stage, man. This is all agitation propaganda. Okay, we're setting up the stage so that people could see, all right, pick sides basically. It's Democrats and Republicans, and then something happens and then all hell breaks loose. Within 6 weeks, if this shit keeps on going, you're going to see a difference in the energy. Maybe even before that. So continuing, it says, if we see a lapse in pay come the 15th, my children do not get to get the medication that's needed for them to live their life because we live paycheck to paycheck, Samantha told Johnson. Look at that. Man, this is crazy. The exchange occurred as Johnson was taking questions live from C-SPAN viewers who called in to the network Thursday morning. According to C-SPAN Communications Director Howard Mortman, wow, what a name, Mortman, Johnson is the fourth sitting speaker to join the network in studio and take questions from callers, blah, blah, blah. Active duty military members had been scheduled to be paid next Wednesday, but if the shutdown continues, they will not receive payments for October work. Ooh, that's going to be a problem. It says so, and we said this, man. We said, yo, this thing, if it keeps on going, shit, the effects of this shutdown is so crazy. People haven't felt the effects yet. It's going to spread. You're going to see. People going to start getting a lot more agitated, right? It's going to affect everything, man. And they'll do nothing but blame it on each other. Oh, it's the Democrats, the Republicans. It's like, do something. And people going, hey, martial law. It's coming. They're going to snap. Is that Samantha said that she was very disappointed in my party. Cool, all right? Very disappointed in my party, and I'm very disappointed in you. And cool. See? That's that spirit. That's that spirit of they shall not regard their kings nor princes. You're starting to see it brewing. See? Disappointment eventually becomes despair. All right? And despair becomes what? Anger. All right? Anger. And at that point, yo, no, ain't nobody going to tell them what to do. Okay? Nobody's going to tell them what to do. All right? This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And verse 16 says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So that's the climate. Okay, they talk about climate change. The climate they're talking about is the system, the way the earth functions. All right, the systema, so to speak. All right. So she's saying she's very disappointed in the system, pretty much. All right. She's seeing the reality of America's downfall, and she's not liking it. All right. So she pointed out that Johnson had the power to call the House back into session. The House is set to return on Tuesday. Quote, I'm begging you to pass this legislation, she said. My kids could die. See? So this is desperation. This is what they want. I was watching the Elder Yashwamba's lesson that he did. I believe this was yesterday. He was talking about how we're at the point where the governments are putting the squeeze on the people. The serpent, that is. The serpent is putting the squeeze, all right, on the people. And remember, this is what happens with the serpent is, I'll use an example of a python, right? When they get their prey, they wrap around the prey. Okay, they bite them, right? And then they wrap around them, and then they squeeze as much as they can. And then when they finish squeezing, they stretch, right? So you get the squeeze and you get the stretch. And then once that's done, you got bones of the, let's say they get an antelope or a deer or whatever the case may be, crack all the bones and everything, get it nice and ready. And then they swallow that prey down. Okay, take a few minutes, sometimes a couple of hours, depending on how big the prey is, right? And then they just swallow all the way till the prey is done. and then they just lay down, sometimes for weeks, okay, for that food to break down in their system, sometimes months, okay, and they go another couple months without eating. See, but them things is yo, you know. But when you take that example, all right, and you attribute that to Esau being the serpent, he got similar qualities, if not the same. So right now he's bitten the people with the venom, right? Even though the python is really not a venomous snake, but this devil got a venom. He's a venomous type of serpent, right? So boom, venom is already working. Now he's guiding the people in his crosshairs. So the squeeze is on, right? He's putting the squeeze before he gets to that stretch, and that's when the people gonna lose it. You see? So at that point, when they have you in that squeeze mode, you're not really getting out. Most animals don't really get out unless you have outside intervention. You see? So right now, what we're going through is that squeeze. Until that outside intervention comes in, which is going to be ultimately Yahushua, everybody else is going to get swallowed up by that serpent. All right. And then once that happens, Yahushua comes and delivers, the outside intervention comes in and delivers those who are going to be delivered from out of the clutches of the serpent. Those who get devoured inside that serpent, remember, you're going to be in the belly of the serpent. What happens? The serpent dies, you die with it. The whole system is done. All right. So that's a quick analogy of, what came to my mind when I heard the elder mention that. Okay. That the serpent is putting that squeeze on the people. All right. And the people are feeling it. So it says here, she's begging, right? Remember when Trump said he's the snake? And remember when he said, when the snake bit the woman, was like, oh, you bit me. And he was like, oh, shut up, you silly woman. You knew I was a snake before you took me in. This is where you're going to see that play out. Where people are saying, yo, you doing all this, you're hurting us, And he's going to turn around and say, shut up. You're just getting a taste of your own medicine. Shut up. You knew I was a snake before you brought me in here. Right? I'm your party. I'm a Republican. All this extra. Yeah, you knew I was a snake before you put me in. Right? She said, I'm begging you to pass this legislation. She said, my kids could die. In response to a request for comment, Johnson's office referred NBC News to statements he made publicly. Would like to... No, I'm not even going to read that. Johnson told Samantha he was angry because of situations just like yours. He noted that this congressional district is home to many military families, including families who have children in health situations like yours. This is what keeps me up at night. Lying ass nigga. He said, I want you to hear something very clearly. The Republicans are the ones delivering for you. Yeah, right. He part of it. Johnson continued casting blame on Democrats, you see, for not voting for the GOP-backed continuing resolution, which would reopen the government and provide short-term funding at the same levels as before the shutdown began. So more gaslighting. All right. They're realizing people are seeing what's going on, so they're just going to keep gaslighting you. Okay. Oh, that's not what you're seeing. Inflation? Oh, no, that's at just 4 or 5%. It's not really 25%. But people are like, yo, we seeing it, bro. No, that's not what you're seeing. The economy is great right now. So many jobs. Just shut up and go to work. All right. If not, you're just going to just be fired already. Crazy work. It says Democrats have been pushing Republicans to address healthcare issues first, noting that Affordable Care Act subsidies are set to expire at the end of the year, which would increase the cost of healthcare. So this is all being done by design. 2026 is going to be a big year, man. Healthcare is also going to be a problem. This is set to expire at the end of the year. Looking at these niggas, they might deadass just leave it to expire at the end of the year to really hype up more of that civil unrest. This is all to frustrate the people, I'm telling you. And it's also a rebranding of the government, the rebranding of this company, this corporation. It's all a rebranding. They're changing things, changing names of departments and so on and so forth. This is what you see when a company is doing an overhaul. When the overhaul now is changing everything from the physical to the digital. This is what you're seeing. Everything is changing. And in order for it to work, they have to cut back on certain things. A lot of people are about to lose work. And a lot of people are about to lose pension plans. All kind. Oh, man, this place is about to be over with, man. It's at the end of the year. In the wintertime, people getting sick. And healthcare is going to be, oh, my Lord. With another demic on its way. That's the pestilence's part. It's going to be interesting, man. It says the Democrats are the ones that are preventing you from getting a check. If we did another a vote on the floor, pay troops, it's not a lawmaking exercise because Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is going to hold that up in the Senate, Johnson said. Reach for comment, a spokesperson for Schumer's office said, quote, "We have no idea what Speaker Johnson is talking about," end quote. You see, it's a back and forth. Okay? It says the Senate has failed 7 times, largely on party lines, to pass 2 funding bills. The House passed GOP bill and 1 from Senate Democrats. Schumer also slammed Republicans during a Senate floor speech Thursday, reiterating that they refuse to negotiate. Every day that Republicans refuse to negotiate to end this shutdown, the worse it gets for Americans and the clearer it becomes who is fighting for them each day. Our case to fix healthcare and end the shutdown gets better and better, stronger and stronger, because families are opening their letters, showing how high their premiums will climb if Republicans get their way. They're seeing why this fight matters, Schumer said. It's about protecting their healthcare, their bank accounts, their futures. And that's a lie. Everything they just said, just think of the opposite. That's what they do. Johnson also detailed the C-SPAN conversation, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Many are deployed right now defending your freedom around the world, he said. Whose freedom? From who? They've been saying the same shit. Whose freedom is people fighting for? Who? Whose freedoms, bro? And who you fighting this freedom from? Who's holding America hostage that we fighting for freedom right now? Who? If it ain't these corporations that's holding Americans, you look at the medical field, they're holding everyone hostage. You look at the food industry, everything, bro. And it all goes back to these J's. That's who we need to be free from. Not no fighting for freedoms. From who, bro? And people don't think about these things. They just say it. Defending your freedom around the world. Around the world. And they left their young families at home. They live paycheck to paycheck. Many of these service members, and this is not a game. Listen to this. What the fuck does that even mean? But Johnson made it clear on a conference call with House Republicans on Thursday that he does not plan on passing a standalone bill to pay the troops before Wednesday, when military personnel are set to miss their first paychecks, according to 2 Republican sources on the call. This is very interesting. This is all happening, less than a month after that whole military meeting that they had? Could this be another strategy to weed out those who will be considered undesirables? Because some people going to get paid, others are not. Okay? Some way, somehow, they're going to make it a Democrat-Republican shit. More division. It says the call, Johnson received some slight pushback. During the call, Johnson received some slight pushback from GOP members over his strategy. 2 Republicans spoke up to express their concerns over the House's remaining out of session. The sources on the call said, but several others spoke up in support of the idea. Okay? And that's pretty much the conclusion of the article. But again, this is the reality. Okay? People are suffering. People are feeling the heat. All right? And they're going to their same people who are bringing these problems to try to solve it. All right? And the only thing that's going to happen is it gets worse and worse and worse. All right? But anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you are edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakodash, the Wadi Yah, Bahasham Yahshad. Until next time, Shalom.